we've done IGP training. That's kind of our foundation. IGP is what Joe was talking about before, about the German dog sport of schutzhund. It's tracking, obedience, and protection judged to the highest level. So what I like, when you have a breed like a Malinois, hear of Malinois? I know you guys said that you have one, right? Malinois are nut jobs, right? They're absolutely crazy. They are I think one of the sweetest dogs, believe it or not. They have a very bad rep for being very hyper. They don't belong in the normal household if you're not going to do anything with them. So one thing being that I'm in an apartment with my dog is I have to keep him stimulated constantly. And a lot of the stimulation doesn't come from just walking the dog or going to the park and throwing the ball. I could be up personally, I'm a very active person. I could be on my feet for days doing dog training and bite sport and doing all this other stuff. If I pick up a book, I'm asleep in 15 minutes, right? That's my mental endurance. I don't have a lot of it. Neither do dogs. So when we can stimulate them mentally and kind of hold them to, let's just say, precision style obedience, they think a lot harder, they work a lot harder, and in the end, they come home with a sense of ease, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you guys what I do with him. We're just going to do some freestyle stuff, and then I'll explain what we do after. So one thing we want is the dog to walk at the side attentively with their head up and a nice angle left side. So long as he's walking at my side, his head should stay up. At my side, attentive to my turns. Let's. And be able to give a command, give a behavior upon a random command. Here. So now recall the front, that's a position. Foos, that's a position. Now what we can do is throw in other stuff as well. We can throw in different combinations. I could say, for those of you guys who don't know, my dog's training in German. So I use German because to me it's a very, very sharp language. There's not a lot of syllables in it, so I want to keep everything sharp, clean, crisp, and kind of assertive for the dog also. So I can go spin, good boy. A lot of my commands are in English, but my working commands are in German. So Fuß is going to be heel. A lot of you guys hear the word heel. Heel means attentive to my left leg. Fuß. So when I walk, Fuß, good boy. No matter where I go, I want my dog staying on my leg wherever I go. Right? Fuß, sit. Good. Fuß. Good boy. So if I turn left, my dog is going to stay on my leg and turn left with me. If I cue him to sit, it's on my left leg. Sit. Good. So that's it. Good boy. There's a good boy rhythm to the training that we always want to be in, the dog to be in sync with us. So everything that we do, ideally I want to be in this position and have my dog train on as minimal cues as possible. So now I can throw in something like from a Fuß position to a center position. Center. Good. Now it's duration. So whatever position I teach my dog, I'm looking for a certain level of expectation. Good boy. So he's still in position. This takes training in and of itself. This were many rainy days in front of my mirror, sitting there, doing nothing but rewarding my dog. So, good boy. So now you guys can see the Malinois, the shepherd who wants to bite. I'm encouraging the instincts now. This is the reward. Out. Good. Okay. Now, when I say out, that's my drop it command. Drop it is as equal paying behavior as anything else I'm going to ask him to do. So I'll ask him to drop it and I'll reward him again. Out. Okay. Good. So again, allowing aggression, it's controlled aggression. When I say let go, you let go. When I say you can have fun, you can have fun. House. Push. And now he's waiting for the next command. From here, we got bored and started teaching other close vicinity behaviors. Orbit. Then what we would do, sits, bites. Good boy. We would throw maybe from heel to center, and then maybe from center, I'm going to orbit, back to center, good boy. Then maybe center, orbit, nope, center. Fine. He had some coffee, Enzo. Orbit. Push. Butts. Seats. Head. Push. So all this stuff, good boy, is all driven by the want to fight. Fight competitive. Good boy. Stay. Good. Okay. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. Good job. And now at the end, I let him win, and I let him have his reward, and now he gets to keep it. Good boy. This is playtime for me and the dog, all right? So this is when people say, "Oh, how long did it take you to do that?" He's been retired for about 2 years now from the sport of schutzhund. We're just having fun. Joe used to be his old decoy. You can see he's not taking his eyes off. Joe's his best friend in the world. So yeah, we've been retired for 2 years, but this is all just playtime for me and my dog. This is something that I enjoy doing. He loves to do. He could care less about the obedience. He doesn't care about foosing, heeling, sitting, downstays, anything like that. He wants the tug. So again, having a massive reward at the end of your dog's work is probably the most important thing you guys can establish with your dog as far as dog training goes. Good boy. Push. Butts. He says mine. No. Butts. Good boy. What questions do you guys have for me and Trigger? I'll let him answer first.
I have one question. How do you keep his head up looking at you?
It's a good question. A lot of people ask that. So one, is it's conditioning, right? So conditioning, I've been doing this since he was 3 months old. Now this is part of the reason why we have the mirrors in here. So the mirrors, allow me to look at a dog's position, sits, and not necessarily look at the dog. So what I was saying before too is I'll stand there in front of my mirror and now it's duration. So has anyone ever heard of the 3 Ds of dog training before? Super important, dog training Bible. It is distance, distraction, duration. Well, duration, distraction, distance in that order. So duration is I will teach the dog to keep his head up through a series of markers and release cue. The dog's got to understand, when do I get this? And what do I have to do to get it, right? So it started with him, every time he looked up at me, yes, boom, I give him a treat. He's working hard. He's like, shut and play with me. Stay. So over time, I just never let the act of dropping your head go unnoticed. Every single time that it was up, I'd be paying them, and then that became the behavior. So now the second thing is the placement of the tub, right? So right now, as Joe was saying before, this is fake in reality, right? This is something that when I do shows, I'll kind of bring out, help me keep his focus. It's a training tool. But when we do schutzhund, when we go out there in competition, we're not allowed to have any of that. And the dog's still got to maintain that posturing that you're seeing here. So when he's younger in the beginning learning stages, we'll take walking, we'll take something that the dog really wants, we'll put them into drive, and now I can put that under my arm and start moving, okay. And then reward with a release cue. So the dog says, in that window of time between command and release, all right. I talked about the language earlier. Ouch. Sits. Bruce. So between that time, the dog says, what did I do the entire time, the entire duration of command to get this reward, and I want to repeat that. It's just up to me as the trainer, handler, owner to create what I want him to remember, right? And I think a lot of people start with extremely high expectation. I think a lot of people start with stay, and they start walking away and putting their hand out too much, and a lot of that is unreliable. If the dog hasn't shown that they can simply sit, what I like to do is do next to me because it's obedient. If they can't sit here for a duration of time, there's no way I'm going to start moving away if he doesn't know how to sit still with me close. That's just going to take too much temptation and put it out over there for him. So It really is like what I was saying at the very beginning, focusing on key fundamentals. And I think for everyone to take home with them as far as training goes, the first 3 steps in teaching any behavior are the absolute hardest. So how do I get 3 steps with his head up? Foos. 1, 2, 3. Okay, if he can do that for me, I can get 10 steps by the end of the night. It's just, you're right though, Zach. Trigger, here. Here. Seats. Good, Foos. Another reason why I like obedience, accidents happen, right? Now you can regain control of your dog if you guys have that relationship with them. Obviously, to put the songs you take. So beyond the fun, I mean, that's a perfect example of reality, right? Well, yeah, it happens to everybody. I've seen dogs, you guys can be as cautious as you want, locking, barricading the dog in the house and putting 7 leashes on the dog. But in the end, it's the true relationship between the dog and the person that says, the dog says, reality is, I like Jim more than any of you. None of you have ever paid me for doing so. And he was also groomed to do this. I got a dog for me. I didn't get a dog so that everyone but me can pet the dog. So he understands me and Minnie Joe as the 2 biggest values in this entire room right now. Other questions? Please, Lance.
Awesome. Good job, Jim.
I'm sorry. You just talked to me about the precision in getting that fast response. Like my Euro boxer, you love the obedience training, but he's not fast at anything. He's okay, but he's not fast, and I want that one.
So this comes back to 2 things. One is genetics of the dog, right? You get some kids who aren't fast, that they can do all the training in the world, and there's always gonna be someone who doesn't do training who's always faster than them, right? So 1 is genetics, 2 is the drive for the reward. So the drive for the reward, the way that I teach it is, I'll typically use food just to kind of start muscle memory, lowering, right? Nice and slow, but perfect every single time. When the dog's muscle memory is there and he starts offering me up that on his own, I can take higher drive rewards and then put speed onto it. So he says food, like Joe was saying before, food's cool, but I really want to play tug of war. Let me get to that position as fast as possible.
Yeah, he's bored with the food. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you saw before, my dog's like, he's barking, he's spinning, he's sitting, he's all over the place because he says, I want this, but he's also a Malinois. These dogs don't stop.
Can I add something to it?
Absolutely.
So the other piece is, and this is the critical part, right? Like Jim said, finding what works for your dog, what they like, but having fun with your dog. So we know they're dogs and they know they feed off our energy. So if I'm saying to my dog, okay, I need to do this 10 times and 10 steps to give the dog a piece of food, my dog knows I'm in the environment or I'm not, right? So Jim, obviously, you can see he's passionate about this, right? He truly is enjoying himself. The dog understands that. So the dog feels that, says, Matt, you're having fun, I'm having fun, this is awesome. If you just, and this, listen, I get this all, we get sometimes trainers, well, how many times a day do I have to do this? How many minutes? And I'm saying, I'm gonna curse it, you're effing screwed then. If it's like someone parenting, how many times do I have to go outside and throw the ball for my kid? Because this really sucks. The kid's gonna look at you and say, okay, you suck, I don't wanna play ball with you, and I don't wanna hang out with you. So you really have to enjoy your dog to get this type of training, get that type of week. Genetics go a long way, but the relationship is key in finding what novelty, whether it be tug or ball, it's really the journey of the party that's creating it, you know? And as if you have boxers, I don't think see boxer, but typically boxers are very high drive dogs, so.
Yeah, he is, I just haven't found his collateral yet.
You could be boring him, right? So it's, you know, and I'm not you, but that
no, I understand.
You just gotta find that game for him. You know, I tell my son's 10 years old, if I tell him, hey, we're gonna go play chess today, he's not a chess kid, he's a lacrosse player, so they're like, okay. If I go play lacrosse, I'm outside, we get geared up, beat the hell out of each other, you think, that's what I wanna do, I'll do it all day.
Yeah.
I can get him to do anything.
The other thing is too, I start our relationship from a young age in not training out jumping or biting. As you guys hear all the books say, ignore it. It is much harder than it seems to truly ignore that. But I get a lot of puppies when people come in, their first thing is stop the jumping, stop the biting. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want him to jump or bite. I try to avoid situations that put him in to fail where I have to correct him and say, don't do that, because reality is every time you correct the dog, the relationship decreases. So what I did is I said, hey, bite this, and I really encouraged that. And then what's the difference? I bite your ankle, and again, it's hard with puppy teeth, but I stand there, do nothing. He bites a tug, I'm on the floor playing with him. What is my dog more likely gonna do to get my attention? Play with the toy that squeaks or doesn't squeak? Problem is, what do we all do? The dog bite, stop, I'm squeaking, right? So now we become the target. So the dog wants to work for me because I can make something really good happen for him also. I didn't start with no, don't ever do this. Now, hey, do you want to hang out? I'm just like, no, you're mean to me, right? Why would I want to come to you when called? Good boy. Anyone else?
So speaking of jumping, so then my dog jumps on me, I just turn around, like, and ignore them? Like, it's,
Well, now,
down, so obviously that's the wrong.
well, now what I do is I'll typically try to replace a behavior with a more wanted behavior, right? So if I can condition my dog, let's just say go to place. Do we have a place board? Yeah. Place board? Yeah. It's all right. So if I tell my dog to go to place and say, go lay down on your bed, give me a second and I'll say hello to you, typically it puts the dog into a little bit more of a proactive mindset to please me, right? So I'm gonna show that dog, hey, that's what gets you all the love, affection, hugs, kisses, whatever. Then later, when you say, hey, I've taught you to do this, and I've shown you that it works, and you know that it works, now the dog says, let me try B. No. Now it's much easier to stop that because the dog goes, okay, that never works, but this guaranteed, it definitely works. You know, so they're gonna be more likely to show me that behavior than anything else, simply because I've shown them the value. So at first, it's not just ignore, it's don't pay attention to the bad behavior, but then you gotta try to drive the right behavior that you want. I think that's the second piece that most people forget about. Like I said, my dog might be biting my ankle as a puppy. I show him his toy. Again, a lot of people go, hey, here's a toy, and the dog doesn't want it, because when they're chewing a toy, everyone kind of leaves them alone, right? So now my dog picks up a toy, and that's what gets me on the ground with him playing around. So again, it's much easier, I think, when you set up a system of proper communication with your dog, that it's much easier to fade out these unwanted behaviors as time progresses. That's it. Anyone else? Questions? All right.
I got one more question, sorry.
Sure.
How much time per day can a dog take?
He will not tell me he's too tired. And I think that's a part of the Malinois brain that's missing, which is, and I mean honestly, I experimented with that once. I was at a park, I'm throwing the ball, and he kept going. So I said, okay, I'll keep throwing. Got in my car, threw up. And I realized that day that a breed like a Malinois, they're not, and high drive dogs, they're gonna keep going. We have to, unfortunately, make the decision for them to say, hey, enough is enough for today. Other dogs might be good for one or two throws, and then they're low drive, they don't want to, some people just don't like sports. So to say, oh, well, the other guy went for 3 days straight, well, I don't want to. You know what I mean? So it really does depend on the dog, the factors of conditioning, the nutrition that they're fed, all the factors go into it.
Thank you.
But he won't tell me he's tired, so.
Thank you very much.
Now, with your tub, can you use other toys, or is that his?
That's a great question. This is actually not even mine. This belongs to the store. It's whatever the game is. So one thing that me and Joe will talk about frequently is you look at kids who come up from poverty who don't have anything, right? They'll play baseball on the street with a tree branch and a stick, right? And have the time of their life versus a spoiled kid who's got 20 bats in his basement and signed up for all these teams who just doesn't like it, right? So the idea with him is saying, whatever we're playing with today is gonna be more fun than the thing itself. A lot of people say, oh, my dog doesn't like this tug. Let me get him another tug. Your kid doesn't like baseball because of the baseball mitt he has. He doesn't like baseball because it just, for whatever reason, wasn't shown to be fun to him. You know, I'll make my own baseball mitt if I love baseball that much. So yes, in theory, I could take out a sock or anything and show my dog game, he's on it. But again, it comes back to the level of activity, physical activity you guys have with your dog. You can't sit here and treat is not gonna be fun. Right? You have to show the game you want. So I've shown him how to tug, I've shown him prey drive, I've utilized that, and then I ask for obedience before it. And that's what you get here, and then 6 years of conditioning. Good boy. All right, let me put him up. Final questions before we bring on Enzo? All right, guys. Pleasure, thank you.
Alright, so we're gonna bring out one of my dogs, Enzo. He's a 10-year-old Rottweiler. He's competed in the dog sport like I told you before for many, many years. He retired years ago because he blew out his ACL. We did surgery on it, but he was never right. He's a big dog. You'll see him. He's a big dog. He's done that for many years. He's got a IPP 3, which is a high level of schutzhund. He competed at national level. He also was a Seabird show dog, a Rottweiler show dog that we showed in Europe, Germany, and the States. He's tracking titles. So he's a working dog. Now he just hangs out with my kids, plays lacrosse, and does some demos. So he's Enzo, he likes to play tough too. Good. So it's a little tiny baby dog. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. Push. 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 Rub here. Ups. Step out, prepare for escape. Push! Push. Flats.
Lay on leash. Hey, buddy. Gotta go on a diet, buddy.
Now you decide that.
Go! Good boy, Enzo. Good boy. Here for Kaylee there. House! Stick. Transport, doggy stay there. Halt. Push.
He knows what's.
Take it easy. Sit. Push.
It's a fancy little thing you got there, Enzo.
Where's that girl? Where's that girl? Where's that girl?
Good job.
Nice,
This is the only business you can do for your boy. You just know what. She came in late yesterday. Good boy, Enzo. Good boy, Enzo. Enzo, here, boy. Come here. It's just a toy thing. He's just having fun. Enzo, bring it, boy. Come on, bring it all in. Over here. Come on, here. Enzo, come on. Let's go, buddy. Here. Enzo, here, boy. Come on, hold on. Let's go. Bring it. Lots. House. Go, boy. Go, boy. Relax. Take it easy. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. So, again, this is what he likes. That's his thing. My lad doesn't do this. He does, right? So that's what he likes. That's what we do. He had a great, I was 10 years old, like I said, great 10 years of competing, traveling, having a blast, going to hotels, and that was our lifestyle. So He's a super obedient dog. He's good around my house. I have 3 little kids. Oh boy, buddy. Yeah, you. Good job, buddy. Good job. You guys have any questions about what we did here?